even though I'm not the prayer leader, and you don't have to wear a talit, but you know what? It's really cold. So just going to use it for warmth and for closeness to God. So it serves a dual purpose. But Shabbat Shalom to one and all, whether you're joining us through YouTube or Facebook or directly from the Adat Ari website. We welcome you. We can't wait to sing some of our Kabbalat Shabbat psalms to welcome in the Sabbath. It is already pretty much descended. It's dark and cold and bleak outside. So we will just do an extra big job of trying to give you some warmth in song. Count to Aronoff in your own time.
I'm so warm already. I'm pulling up my sleeves.
Can I have them?
Well, I have to say your talit, like mine, does not add much warmth. It's just a little bit. But I love to wear this one because this was my father's talit that he wore on top of, those robes that the rabbis wore in the 50s and the 60s and maybe a little bit into the 70s. I don't know. But this was his robe talit. And it makes playing guitar much easier. But I'm going to start tonight not playing guitar. I'm just going to start a cappella. I'd like to start with I'm calling a traditional tune to Hachama Merosh, Shabbat HaMalkah, the beautiful poem by Chaim Nachman Bialik, which we can find on page 60. This beautiful poem describes what it's like to be coming home in your house with Shabbat HaMalkah, with Shabbat the Queen. And we always sang this at our Shabbat table in harmony, of course. Tonight it won't be in harmony, but it's still a beautiful tune. Hachama merosh ha'ilanot nistalka bo'u v'netze likrat Shabbat hamalka hine hi yoredet hakedosha haberucha ve'ima malachim tzva shalom u'menucha boi boi hamaleka boi boi hakala shalom aleichem malachei hashalom. The second verse says, with song-filled prayer, we bade Shabbat welcome, and with joy in our hearts, we head back home from Shul. There the table is set, the candles burn bright, every corner of the house glows in their light. May you be blessed with Shabbat Shalom. May you be blessed with Shabbat Shalom. Shalom to you, O you angels of peace. And in a true Bialik poetic fashion, the way you say this poem, the way you sing this poem is to emphasize not the syllables that we would emphasize in modern spoken Hebrew. Kibalnu pnei Shabbat birnana utfila habayta nashuva belev male gila sham aruch hashulchan hanerot yairu kol pinot habayit yizrachu yazhiru Shabbat Shalom umevorach Shabbat Shalom umevorach Boachem leShalom malachei hashalom.
Shabbat Shalom to you, and Aronoff. What a beautiful welcoming and a lovely, gorgeous melody there. Thank you for sharing. And on Shabbat Shirah, no less, to just add some extra tuneful shirim is the right word there. Continuing, we are on page 11, and we have the call to sing together to God, L'chu neranana l'Adonai.
L'chu neranana l'Adonai, nari'a letzur yishenu, nekadma fanav b'todah, bizmirot nari'a lo, nekadma fanav b'todah, bizmirot nari'a lo. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher biyado mecherei haaretz, v'toafot harim lo. Asher biyado mecherei haaretz, v'toafot harim lo. Asher lo hayam v'yuasau, v'yabeshet yadav yatzalu, lo nishtachava v'nichrani v'chayim. Adakshu levavchem k'mirim v'ayim. 40 shana akut bedor, va'omaram toe levavhem, ve'im lo yadu derachai, asher nishbati be'api, im yevo'un el menuchati. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Page 13 going into 14. We're on page 14 at the arrow. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelovo. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelovo. Yala lai lai nanai, yana nai nai nanai, nana nai nai nanai nai nanai nai nanai, yala lai lai nanai, nana nai nai nanai, yana nai nai nanai nai nanai nai nai nai. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelovo. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelovo. Yala lai nai nanai, yana nai nai nanai, yala lai lai la lai lai la lai lai la lai, yala lai lai la lai, yala lai lai la lai, yala lai lai la lai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo, az yiranenu kol atzei ya'ar, lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amim b'emunato. Let's turn now to page 17, if I can actually get there. Page 17 for Psalm 98. Mizmor shivu l'Adonai shir chadash, ki niflaot asa, Hosheh lo yamin ozra kocho. We're on page 18 on the third line for Zamru l'Adonai bechinor. Zamru בכינור, בכינור וקול זמרה, בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני, זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור וקול זמרה, בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני. ירם הים ולואו, תבל ויושביה, נהרות עמך וכף, יחד ערים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיווה, קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים ומישרים. ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושביה, נהרות עמך וכף, יחד הרים ירננו. And now we are ready, I think, for Lecha Dodi, which is on page 23 through 25. And I'm going to use a tune from a prayer community called Kol Hanashama. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne Kabela, ay, 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 lecha Dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne Kabela, oh, Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila, lecha dodi ligrat kalai, yalalai, 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 bnei Shabbat, nekabela, ay, 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 lecha dodi ligrat kalai, yalalai, 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 bnei Shabbat, nekabela, oh, likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mikor haberacha, merosh mikedem, nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tehila, lecha dodi likrat kalai, yananai, 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 bnei Shabbat, nekabela, ay, 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 lecha dodi likrat kalai, yalalai, 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 bnei Shabbat, nekabela, oh, mikdash melech, עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבת בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה, אוי ויזמיר, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר על תילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה, איי איי איי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה, והיו למשיסה שוסייך ורחקו כל מרלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כנסוס חתן חתן על כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה, אוי אוי אוי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה, אוי ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, בני שבת נקבלה, אוי אוי אוי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי יללי יללי, bnei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise for the last verse if you can. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'betzola, toch emunei am segula, bo'i chala, bo'i chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela, ay, 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 lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Good Shabbos. I see Jill Lasker loves this tune, as far as I can tell from the Facebook comments that I'm looking at right now. So Jill, I'm glad you like this tune. And what's not to like about Lecha Dodi? It calms me down. It riles me up. In other words, it calms me down from the week. It makes me feel present in Shabbat. And then it excites me about Shabbat that is descending upon us. So in the spirit of Shabbat, let's turn to page 27 for Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, page 27. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, le'agid b'boker chastecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot, alei asor ba'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor, ki simchtani Adonai b'fo'alecha, b'ma'aseh yadecha aranein. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir כתמר יפרח, כארז בבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת בו, היי מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. And now I'm going to take you to my dining room. Sorry, I'm not feeding you dinner, but that's where my Shabbos candles are already lit. And that's where we're going to go for us to sing together the bracha for Hadlakat Nerot. Oops, I think I'll put you over here.
Ooh, pretty.
Yep, there. I think we're good. Oh, wait.
Yep.
Really? Can we
invite you all, if you want, to stand, to crouch over to your candles, to cover your eyes and offer the blessing together, and then wish everyone a big Shabbat Shalom when it is time.
Yalla la la la, yalla nai nai nai, yalla la 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 la, la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Yalla lai 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 lai, yalla lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai. Shabbat shalom. Mwah.
Shabbat Shalom to one and all. It is so lovely to get to celebrate Shabbat with our community. Just want to offer a few words of excitement that we've come to one of our favourite Torah portions of the year. Kanta Aronoff, I'm sure it's one of her faves, because it is all about song, the power, the importance, the majesty, the miracle of getting to sing a song together, even in the midst of chaos, of sea splitting, darkness, of being chased, that power of using music as a tool to unite. And what I also want to offer, as well as a kind of segue into our Tu our parsha, is a little Tu B'Shvat teach as well, because I'm not quite over how wonderful the holiday of Tu B'Shvat is, and it fell on a weekday this year, so we weren't able to go full and big with it tonight. But as you know, trees are magical and provide us with all of our sustenance. There is a midrash that links Parshat Beshalach, which contains Shirat Hayam, with the magic of the trees, with the sustenance that we derive from trees. It's just an extraordinary midrash that I think it's no coincidence that Tu B'Shvat actually overlaps and is very close to our Shirat Hayam recitation on a Sabbath. So we have from the Talmud, Rabbi Nehora remarks when looking at the miracle of the sea split that if a daughter of Israel was crossing in the dry land created by the absence of the sea, and a child was in her hand, screaming as you can imagine, and she cried in order to want to comfort this child, she was able to stretch out her hand and, you might know this is a famous midrash, she could reach into the sea and grab an apple or a pomegranate to give to the child. As it says in Tehillim, and God led them into the depths as he did in the desert. And again, as we know, we were sustained in the desert. There was still the ability of lacking nothing, for God provided us. And it is an insane suggestion. If it wasn't miraculous enough that the sea split, that there were plagues, that the Israelites were saved even though there were chariots and we were on foot, that the tree grew in the sea, and that we were able to be nourished by the sea, that somehow these were kind of whole lagoons with sustenance. And it's actually a celebration of the trees, that apples and pomegranates were there, because in some ways, Parshat Shalach and us emerging, from the birth canal-like pillars of the sea, it is an act of creation, and God is creating us anew, and therefore we're being thrown in mixed metaphors of all of creation is being created, not just us as a people, but the world itself, the trees emerge. So I just want to kind of hold that impossible, beautiful midrash there in our hearts, that God provided fruit even as we impossibly crossed through the sea. And I want to actually end on a piece of tree wisdom for us, because the trees have always been our salvation. And it was very recently that the wonderful Susie Katz pointed out to me a teaching that she in turn had learned from her wonderful husband of blessed memory, Gunther Katz, advice from a tree. And her advice is as follows. And for some reason, it reminds me of how the children of Israel walked through the split sea with that song in their hearts. The advice from the tree is as follows. Stand tall and proud. Sink your roots into the earth. 10. Go out on a limb. Plenty of water. Think and enjoy the view. And all of that wisdom, I think, was intuited by those children of Israel as they walked through, proud, brave, out on a limb, looking at the view, being absolutely delighted, sustained, and again afterwards demanding water. So stay hydrated, make like a tree, but don't leave. In fact, let us rise, stand tall and proud for the Baruch Hu, page 39a.
Lie, 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 lie,
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Leolam Va'ed. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרבים, אהבת עולם בית ישראל, אהבת תורה מצוות.
We're now on page 40, shortly to go into our Shema. But first, a bit of love from God to the Jewish people. And back again at
ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך, בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה אם שמוע תשמעו מצוות אשר לכם מצוות. ונתתי מדרתכם בתורה רמה כל שפתם. לבבכם יעל נפשכם וקשרתם. ויאמר אדוני למשה לאמור דבר אדוני ישראל אמרת להם יוסף ציצית למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי וידעתם קדושים. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת ואמונה כל טוב וקיים עלינו, כי אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו ואנחנו ישראל עמו הפודנו מיד מלאכים לא כאילו עלינו. עשם נפשנו בחיים. אמיר בעונה אמרנו. We're on the top of page 44. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכהנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם ים בם בם בים בים בם ים בם בם בים בם ים בם בם בים בים בם ים בם בם בים בם איי 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 ים בם בם בים בם איי 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 ים בם בם בים בם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נוראתי לא תוסף אלה נוראתי לא תוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה זני הנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ים בם בם בים בים בם ים בם בם בים בם ים בם בם בים בים בם ים בם בם בים בם איי 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 ים בם בם בים בם איי 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 ים בם בם בים בם ונאמר כי פדרנה את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. We'll continue with Hashkivenu, page 45.
Ushmor tzeiteinu voeinu lechayim u'leshalom me'ata v'ad olam. Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha Baruch atah Adonai Hapodei sukat shalom Aleinu, aleinu 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 V'al kol amo Yisrael V'al kol amo Yisrael V'al kol amo Yisrael V'al Yerushalayim. Page 46. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbos la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbos la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shavat vayinafash, Shavat vayinafash, Bayom hashvi'i v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbos la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'gala ba'gala u'v'zman kariv ve'yimiru.
Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach li'olam v'l'olmei halmaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha
Burichu.
ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma ve'yimiru.
Amen. I invite all of us now to offer up a silent Amidah for Ma'ariv on Shabbat. So I'm on page 47. It goes on till page 52. Feel free to offer this up in the language that you most identify identify with, that makes sense, that gives you comfort. Just take some time out to meditate, to bless what you need to bless, to say what you're grateful for, to ask what you need. And we will conclude with an Oseh Shalom in just a few moments. If you're still offering up the words of your Amidah, please feel free to prioritize that. And if not, we invite you to sing Oseh Shalom with us at this time.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru Yitkara v'yitkara shemei rabah, be'alma divra chilutei v'yamlichmachutei b'chayachonu v'yamlichonu b'chay b'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'meru. Amen.
Amen. Yehi shmei rabah mevorach, li'olam ul'ol me'al maya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpor v'yitruman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalel shmei d'kudesha.
Rihu.
Elami kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran b'yama v'yimeru.
Amen.
Abel sloton uvauton tochol Yisrael kodam avohadi v'shmaya v'yimeru.
Amen.
Hey shlam rabbamin shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yimeru.
Amen.
Ohase shalom b'bramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru.
Amen. Amen to that. We have now our Kiddush on page 55. So I encourage anyone who is able and wishes to do Kiddush at this time with us to load up your Kiddush cup with the good stuff, whatever you define that to be, and we will have our Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch
Amen.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemaaseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki vanu vacharta viotanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha B'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. L'chaim again. And also just a big Yesha Koach Todaraba to Jack Soul for virtually and spiritually handing out the wine glasses there. I can just imagine you doing so, and I know you would if you could. So just thank you, Jack, for being there. And yes, we will continue. If you have arisen, stay arosed, be like a nice tall tree, and we will continue with Aleinu now on page 50 something.
6.
You're 56. The wine is getting to me already. So
my Kedem grape juice did not get to me. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latek gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem vekor aleinu kechol amonam va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim Lifnei melech malchei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz u'mashav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al u'shchinatu zo b'govei meromim hu Eloheinu einot emet malkeinu efes ulato Kakatu b'torato v'yadata yom ve'ashivota elevavecha ki Adonai Elohim b'shamayim mima'al v'yal haaretz mitachat einot. Ki hamalchut shelcha hi ola l'me'atimloch b'chavod Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
please take a seat unless you want to remain standing for the Mourners Kaddish. I just posted on Facebook the list of the yurt sites for the upcoming week that we have been made aware of in the Adat Ari community. And we encourage anyone to add their own names or hold them in this heart at this time. And we also want to offer condolences to Eliana Lewinson on the passing of her grandpa, Marvin Friedman. The funeral hasn't yet happened, but we just want to acknowledge that that's something that she and her family are dealing with. And she told me on the phone it was the last of her grandparents. So that really does just change what it feels like to be on this planet, you know, when you lose the end of that generation. So we're holding you in our heart at this time, as well as all others who are in mourning, who are observing the yurt site or in their own period of mourning. So at this time, I invite everyone who wishes to recite Kaddish Yatom with me. I'm on page 58. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei v'chol Beit Yisrael v'agala u'v'zman hariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Ulomei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudsha Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru.
Amen.
Yehesh lama Rabba min Shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imrumav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Well, before we get to do a yigdal, I believe is the offering on the table, we just want to say a couple of announcements. First of all, a big, old, hearty Shabbat Shalom to one and all. Thank you so much for sharing the love to one another, just being here virtually in this space. I love getting to celebrate Shabbat with my community and hearing these delicious tunes offered up by our one and only Cantor Judy Aronoff. So thank you so much for your pick of beautiful tunes this evening. It really is a Shabbat Shira, which also leads into the next announcement, which is tomorrow morning, 9:30, for an extra tuneful, extra singy Shabbat with some instruments too, I believe. I will be bringing my bells with me. So feel free to play along, sing along, and really just lean into this high point for the Jewish people, that moment of liberation, that freedom song that we will get to read in shul virtually tomorrow. And that's going to be a wonderful thing. And we also want to let you know just two other short, small things, which is on Sunday, there is going to be a day of learning for Torah Fund. The women of Adat, the sisterhoods all around the country get together, and we have got several wonderful female rabbi teachers who will be offering different classes. I think you can still sign up because it's virtual, so space is limitless. And we also want to remind you that Purim is on the rise, or on the horizon. And therefore, it is time, if you haven't already, and if you are able to sign up for Mishlach Manat. You have till February 13th to see if you can even just give one basket and send to someone in the community, and we can help you out with that. So it's a lovely mitzvah to do, and we encourage all to participate. You will be receiving something from us, so don't worry. Anyway, Cantor Aronoff, have I blanked on anything important?
One little thing, by the way, I think it's February 12th, whatever that Friday is the last day for Mishloach Manot. And the only other thing I'd like to add, you really covered it all, is that last month we started doing Havdalah on a monthly basis. Okay. And the evening for Havdalah in January is tomorrow night. So tomorrow night at 6:00, come and join me for Havdalah. Right here in my house, or maybe in another room in my house. I don't know yet. But come and join for Havdalah. If you have a Havdalah candle and the wine and the spices, great. If not, we'll all provide virtually. You can join in it. And the link for that should be on our website. So please go to that. It's probably elsewhere as well, but going to the website is always a good bet.
Yeah,
So
there was an email that we sent out with the link, and I'm so sorry I blanked on that. I think just in my heart, I hate the fact that Shabbat ends because I love Shabbat. So I'm like, I just don't want to admit there's a Havdalah, but there is one, and every week. So come and join us and let's be together.
right, and I see that Andrea put something in the Facebook comments about referencing the email that came out earlier today. So thank you, Andrea, for that. And now, shall we end with Yigdal on page 62?
I would love to. Yes.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח נמצא ויהנה תל מציאותו אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף לא נערוך אליו קדושתו קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא ראשון ואין בראשית לראשיתו הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר יורה גדולתו ומלכותו שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומביט את אמונתו תורת אמת נתן לימואל על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו לא יכל לפועל ולא ימיר דתו לעולמים לזולתו צופה ויודע סתרנו מביט בסוף דבר בקדמתו אומר לאיש חסד כמפעלו נותן רשע רע כרישתו ישלח לקץ ימין ושיחנו לפדות מחכה קץ ישועתו מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to one and all. Mwah.